CompTIA DataSys Plus is a vendor-neutral certification for people who want to understand how database systems are built, managed, secured, maintained, and recovered when something goes wrong. It is not simply a certification about data analytics, and it is not only a vocabulary test about database terms. It sits much closer to the operational side of data work. That means the side where someone has to keep database systems available, organized, protected, documented, and useful to the business. This episode is part of the Monday Certified feature from Bare Metal Cyber Magazine, where we look at certifications in plain English and explain what they actually mean for early career professionals.
If this certification is on your study list, a free and complete audio course is available in the Bare Metal Cyber Academy at baremetalcyber.com, complete with a study guide and a second ebook featuring 1,000 flashcard questions.
DataSys Plus is useful because databases are everywhere in modern IT. Business applications depend on them. Cloud platforms depend on them. Customer records, financial transactions, inventory systems, identity systems, logs, reports, and operational dashboards all depend on data being stored and retrieved correctly. When a database slows down, breaks, leaks information, loses data, or cannot be restored, the impact can be immediate and expensive. This credential helps learners understand the responsibilities that sit behind that kind of reliability. It is about more than knowing that a table has rows and columns. It is about knowing how database environments support real organizations.
The certification is issued by CompTIA, an organization known for vendor-neutral IT certifications. That matters because DataSys Plus is not built around one database product or one cloud provider. It is meant to cover core skills that apply across many environments. A person may later specialize in Microsoft SQL Server, Oracle, PostgreSQL, MySQL, MongoDB, AWS Database Services, Azure Database Services, or Google Cloud Database Services. DataSys Plus gives that person a broader foundation before they go deep into one platform.
The credential is best understood as an early to intermediate certification. It is not usually someone's first exposure to computers, but it also does not assume that the learner is already a senior database architect. It fits people who already have basic technical literacy and want to move closer to database administration or data systems operations. That may include junior database administrators, help desk technicians who support database-connected applications, system administrators, application support staff, data operations professionals, technical analysts, and security professionals who want to better understand how sensitive data is actually stored and protected. One of the most important things to understand is that database administration is not only about writing queries. SQL matters, but the work is broader than that. A database professional may need to help deploy a system, document a configuration, manage permissions, monitor performance, test backups, support recovery planning, troubleshoot application issues, review logs, apply patches, and work with security or compliance requirements. DataSys Plus tries to measure that wider view of the job. It asks whether you understand databases as living operational systems, not just as abstract classroom examples. The exam covers database fundamentals, including database structures, relationships, objects, transactions, and basic query concepts. It also covers deployment and implementation, which means the planning and validation work that happens before a database becomes part of a production environment. A learner should understand why requirements matter, why design decisions affect performance and maintainability, and why documentation is not just paperwork. Good documentation can help the next person understand what was built, why it was built that way, and how to support it without guessing. Another major area is database management and maintenance. This is where the exam starts to feel very practical. It can include monitoring, performance, capacity planning, patching, upgrades, routine maintenance, troubleshooting, and change control. These topics are not always exciting, but they are the backbone of reliable systems. A database that performs well on launch day but is poorly monitored, poorly maintained, or poorly documented can become a business problem very quickly.
Security is also a major part of the certification. That includes access control, account management, least privilege, encryption, masking, auditing, governance, compliance, and protection against common threats. In the real world, database security is not separate from database administration. The people who manage the system often influence who can access data, what kind of data can be seen, how sensitive information is protected, and whether the organization can prove that controls are working. DataSys Plus expects learners to connect security decisions to database operations.
Business continuity is another key theme. It is not enough to say that backups exist. A database professional needs to understand what kind of backups are being taken, how often they happen, where they are stored, how they are protected, and whether they can actually be restored. Recovery planning also includes ideas like high availability, replication, failover, recovery time, and recovery point goals. In plain English, the business wants to know how much downtime it can tolerate and how much data it could lose if something goes wrong. Database professionals help turn those questions into technical plans.
A common misconception is that DataSys Plus is only for people who already have the job title Database Administrator. That is not true. Many technology roles touch databases indirectly. A help desk technician may support users of an application that depends on a database. A system administrator may maintain the server where a database runs. A cloud technician may help configure database services. A security analyst may investigate suspicious access to stored data. A data analyst may depend on well-structured and reliable data sources. Understanding database operations can make all of those professionals stronger.
Another misconception is that the exam is only about memorizing definitions. Definitions matter, but they are not enough. The exam rewards applied understanding. You may need to think through what should happen when performance drops, when a user has too much access, when a backup strategy is weak, when a deployment has poor documentation, or when a business process depends on recovery after an outage. The right answer often depends on judgment, not just recall. For preparation, start by understanding what the certification is really trying to measure. Separate database administration from data analytics in your mind. Data analytics asks what the data means. Database administration asks how the data is stored, protected, maintained, accessed, recovered, and kept reliable enough for the business to use. Those two worlds overlap, but they are not the same. This distinction helps you study the right way.
A good study plan begins with the exam objective areas. Look at each domain and mark what feels familiar and what feels weak. If you come from general IT support, you may feel comfortable with troubleshooting, permissions, or systems concepts, but less comfortable with database structures and query language. If you come from analytics, you may understand data and reporting, but need more practice with deployment, access control, backups, and continuity. If you come from cybersecurity, you may understand risk and controls, but need more time with database fundamentals and maintenance. Hands-on practice can make the content much easier to understand. You do not need an enterprise lab to start. A simple local database, sample tables, basic SQL queries, user permissions, backup and restore exercises, and a few documentation notes can help connect exam concepts to real actions. Try creating a small database, adding records, changing permissions, backing it up, restoring it, and writing down what you did. That kind of practice turns abstract ideas into something you can remember under pressure.
The Bare Metal Cyber Academy can fit into that study process as a flexible support system. The free audio course can help with first-pass learning and review when you are away from your desk. The study guide can give you a more structured reading path when you need detail and organization. The flashcards ebook can help with repeated recall, especially for terms, processes, and distinctions that are easy to confuse. The goal is not to use only one study method. The goal is to combine listening, reading, practice, review, and question work so the material becomes familiar from several angles.
As you prepare, do not spend all your time on the most technical topics and ignore the operational ones. Security, governance, documentation, backup, recovery, monitoring, and maintenance may not feel as exciting as writing queries, but they are central to real database work. A database that cannot be restored is a serious risk. A database with weak access control is a security problem. A database with no documentation is harder to support. A database with no monitoring can fail quietly until users notice the damage.
For career impact, DataSys Plus can help someone show interest and competence in database administration and data systems operations. It can support conversations for junior database roles, application support roles, data operations roles, system administration roles, and security-adjacent jobs that involve data stores. Hiring managers are likely to view it as a foundation, not a final destination. It does not prove that someone is ready to lead a complex enterprise database program alone, but it can show that the person understands the language, risks, responsibilities, and workflows of database support. Where it fits in a broader path depends on the learner's background. Someone coming from Help Desk may build toward DataSys Plus after A+, Network Plus, Server Plus, Security Plus, or Cloud Plus. Someone coming from Analytics may pair it with Data Plus or a business intelligence path. Someone coming from cybersecurity may use it to better understand database security, access control, and recovery planning. After DataSys Plus, a learner might move toward a vendor-specific database certification, cloud database training, deeper system administration, data engineering foundations, or security-focused database work. The certification is not ideal for every goal. If your main interest is business analytics, Data Plus or a platform-specific analytics path may be more direct. If your goal is broad cybersecurity entry, Security Plus may be the better first stop. If your goal is cloud architecture, a cloud provider certification may come sooner. But if your goal is to understand how database systems are deployed, managed, protected, documented, and recovered, then DataSys Plus gives you a practical and focused starting point. The best way to think about this credential is as a bridge. It connects general IT knowledge to the world of database operations. It helps learners understand why data systems need structure, discipline, security, maintenance, and recovery planning. It also gives early career professionals a way to talk about database responsibilities with more confidence. For someone who wants to move closer to database administration, application support, cloud data services, or data systems operations, DataSys Plus can be a useful next step.
Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit baremetalcyber.com.